is in my life, so I hustle.
What's up YouTube, and welcome to IT Hustle. We will be continuing the series exploring the Blue Team Field Manual. In the last video, we covered querying SMB shares and running a basic ping scan. In this video, we'll be getting into the DHCP and DNS logs. So without further ado, let's get it. So in this slide, the text gives us a few ideas on, or a few options to query the DHCP logs for the information that we're after. I'll go ahead and cover what worked in my lab. So let's go ahead and switch to the lab and check this out. Okay, so we're back in the lab. I'm going to go ahead and hop on the server. And the first example we're going to do, let's move this over, is grep dash capital E I apostrophe DHCP apostrophe var log syslog. And we're going to pipe this to less because it's a lot of information. So you see we have a lot going on. We have our DHCP discover and offer requests in here. Go down. So just a history of that, of DORA, basically discover, offer, request, and acknowledge, right? Let's quit that. Clear. Another way to pull some information is by using cat var lib DHCP DHCPD leases. You're gonna pipe this to less as well. And this one's more human readable. I like how it's broken down. It's more human readable to me anyway. So it's showing us the lease information. More accurately, the lease time. Like it started on this date and it'll end on this date at this time. But it doesn't give us like which machine has the lease. Actually, it does. Hardware Ethernet right here, the MAC address. Client host name. So it does tell you which machine right there. Bottom. Put out of that. Another way to check is to just check via the system D. So system control status ISC DHCP server. I have ISC DHCP server, so this is the command I run. And we see that the service is active, it's running, but it also gives us the information on which machines hold what IP address. So DHCP acknowledge on machine technicians for .50, and NOC has .53, etc. Clear that. Okay, and the last example, we'll use journal CTL Q C DHCP server. We're gonna pipe that to less. And we see a whole lot of information here as well. Specifically, more information on the server itself, Internet Systems Consortium DHCP server. That's what I'm using, ISC DHCP server. Just a wealth of information on that to come through. As we get towards the bottom, we see, you know, the DORA request there. Let's quit out of that. So that's it for the DHCP part of this video. We're going to move on to DNS, and we're going to enable DNS query logging and monitor those logs. So let's switch back to the lab and check that out. Okay, so we're back in the lab. I'm going to open up the server again. And the first example is actually to turn on RNDC query log. This turns on DHCP logging, or query logging. I need to specify that, but I want to make sure it's off first, and I'll show you why. So I'm gonna make sure that's turned off, but what I want to illustrate is the following. So when we check the logs, we do a tail to see the last in of the log file, tail-f var log syslog rep named. Okay, so that's off. All right. So we're still in the tail, and it's live right now. So what I wanted to illustrate, I'm gonna open up the Kali box. Can I get them side by side? Yeah, I can. Kali box here. All right. So I'm going to open up a browser, and you see, just simply opening Mozilla, we see all this information, all the name resolution going on just by simply opening the browser. All right. So I'm going to close this so it stops. You stop yet? Okay, so it finally stopped. But what I wanted to illustrate with the query logging being off, if we were to dig the name server, and this is the name server name in S1, no activity happens on the server, even if we did it by IP address. Well, that's going to show up because you can't do it that way. It timed out resolving it. But basically, we're trying to do a query against the name server, and it still doesn't show up. So let's go back to the server. I'm going to minimize that. Clear this. And we're going to do RNDC query log on to make sure the log querying is there. And then we're going to run that tail again. Okay, so now we can see here that log querying is now on. So if we come back to the Kali box, what's going on? Oh, connectivity check from Ubuntu. Okay. So if we come back to the Kali box and run the query, it actually hits. We actually log back. So if you have somebody running multiple queries against your DNS, you know, they're trying to find a way in, trying to see how your internet is mapped, you know, in the public. So it's a good thing to keep an eye on. And the last example on combing the logs, we can run grep named var log syslog, and I'm gonna pipe it to less. But this is another way we can comb those logs and get more granular if we need to in our DNS server. That's it for this video. We saw how we can check the logs on DHCP and DNS on a Linux system. In the next video, we'll be getting into file hashing. All resources from this video will be linked in the description. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.
I want the finer things in my life, so I hustle.